After winning the grand prize in our company's mid-year raffle, an all-expenses-paid trip to Santa Barbara, I was settling into my first-class seat, simultaneously bragging to my buddy Leo and complaining about my boss. Phone's going on airplane mode any second now, I texted. Finally, a few days away from your sister, the dragon lady. You have no idea how much of a tyrant she's been lately. A delicate, expensive-smelling perfume wafted over my shoulder. The woman in the seat ahead of me turned around. She had bright, sharp eyes and a perfect smile that was currently twisted into a cold, knowing smirk. The dragon lady, she said, her voice dangerously smooth. Are you referring to me? A jolt went through me, the familiar shadow of her authority washing over me once again. Just an hour before boarding, she'd been lighting up our team's Slack channel, tagging everyone in a brutal takedown of our latest project. And I'd gotten the worst of it. At Ethan Hayes, what is this? This is the third draft, and each one is worse than the last. The company pays you to deliver results, not to warm a chair. And you have the nerve to go on vacation after turning this in? If the client isn't happy by the time you're back, don't bother coming back at all. I had grumbled to myself then. It's not like I begged for this trip. It's a company prize. It'd be stupid not to go. Out loud, I had typed back a suck-up reply. Chloe, you're right. I'm happy to focus on work. Maybe we can just cash out the prize? I'll stay here and nail down the revisions. A long pause followed before her reply came. It's too late to cancel everything. Just figure out how to fix the proposal while you're there. Chloe Bennett was the daughter of our company's founder. A year ago, she'd taken over our division, and while she was notoriously difficult, our department's performance had skyrocketed under her leadership. Her connections meant more resources flowed our way, and everyone's paychecks had gotten significantly bigger. Plus, she was undeniably gorgeous, so most people kept their complaints to hushed whispers behind her back. Now, on the plane, Chloe was staring at me with a playful glint in her eyes, like a cat toying with a cornered mouse. My brain kicked into overdrive as I scrambled to change the subject. Chloe, what a coincidence. You're on this flight too. She mercifully let my dragon lady comment slide. The company raffle didn't say only employees could win prizes. I'm taking a vacation. Is that a problem? It was only later that I found out the grand prize was a couple's getaway package. It had always been for two, which meant for the entire trip, I'd be stuck with Chloe Bennett. So much for a quiet escape from my boss's constant nagging. Now she was my travel companion. Knowing her, this trip wouldn't be a vacation at all. As if on cue, the thought had barely formed before she spoke again. Did you bring your laptop? I want the revised proposal in my inbox by 8 p.m. tonight. Who in their right mind brings a work laptop on vacation? That's certifiably insane. I glanced at her, swallowed the words I wanted to say, and tried to sound apologetic. Oh, sorry, Chloe. I packed in a hurry. I didn't bring it. She looked completely unfazed, as if she had expected this. It's fine, she said coolly. I brought mine. You can use it later. Damn it. With the last few moments before takeoff, I furiously texted my friend, Leo. Leo, what the hell? You said you pulled some strings to get me this trip. You didn't say your sister was part of the package deal. The company belonged to his dad. Before I started, he'd promised me a chill, easy gig. Instead, I'd been thrown into the most demanding department in the building. This trip was supposed to be his way of making it up to me. A free vacation. He'd left out a rather crucial detail. A single eye-roll emoji was his immediate reply. Did you get a free vacation or not? He texted back. Look, man, I've got my own problems. My parents won't get off my back about getting serious until Chloe gets married. I want a few more years of freedom. Just do me a solid and build some chemistry with her. She's almost 30 and hasn't even been on a date. It's pathetic. You got this, man. Go for it. I glanced at Chloe again. Her exquisite face was a mask of cool indifference. Seeing me on my phone, she seemed to know exactly who I was texting. Don't think being friends with Leo gives you a free pass, she said, her voice sharp. Screw up, and you're still fired. Go for it, I thought. I'll be lucky to survive the week. With a personality like hers, it was no wonder she was single. After we landed, Chloe casually tossed her designer handbag at me. My check bag is a baggage claim. Go grab it with the rest of our stuff. Wait a second. This wasn't right. I was here on vacation, not as her personal assistant. I opened my mouth to protest, but she just turned and looked at me, raising a single, perfect eyebrow. My mouth snapped shut. I nodded meekly and went to collect all the luggage. At the hotel check-in, Chloe and I stood side by side at the counter. The receptionist, a cheerful young woman, greeted us warmly and took our IDs. Mr. Hayes, she said, tapping at her keyboard. I see you've booked our Valentine's romance package. Will one of our themed king suites be okay for you two? Behind me, I saw a faint blush creep up Chloe's neck. It was the first time I'd ever seen her look even remotely flustered. She was usually a block of ice. I clear my throat. Actually, can we get 2 separate rooms? The receptionist just smiled, a knowing glint in her eye. Oh, no need to be shy. You booked the couple's package for a reason. She gave me a little wink. Besides, she added, her expression turning apologetic, we're almost fully booked because of the holiday weekend. I don't think we have 2 separate rooms available. What is she winking about? This isn't some coy game. Seeing my insistence, she nodded politely. If you prefer not to share a room, we do have one of our 2-bedroom suites available. It would give you both plenty of space. Before I could say anything else, Chloe stepped forward. The suite is fine. We'll take it. It's been a long day of travel. I'd just like to check in. Once we got to the suite, I made a beeline for my room, desperate for some space. The tension between us was suffocating. But a few minutes later, my phone rang. It was Chloe. Her voice was low and weak, completely unlike her usual commanding tone. What's up, Chloe? There was a pause on the other end. Then she spoke, her voice laced with uncharacteristic embarrassment. My period started again. It was supposed to be over. I didn't pack any pads. Could you go buy some for me? I had never bought feminine hygiene products in my life and was too embarrassed to ask what kind she used. So I bought a little bit of everything. Daytime pads, overnight pads, liners, period underwear, the works. I knocked on the bathroom door. Chloe's voice came from inside. It's not locked. Just open it a crack and toss them in. I pushed the door open slightly and shoved the entire bag through the opening. I heard a soft gasp from inside, followed by a faint oh. When she finally emerged, Chloe shot me a quick, unreadable glance before heading toward her room. I was about to step into the bathroom myself when she let out another small cry of alarm. She rushed forward to block my path, but my hand was already on the doorknob. I opened the door and saw it immediately. A pair of delicate, red lace panties lying on the tile floor, stained with a single drop of crimson. Chloe's face turned a shade of red I'd never seen before, a mix of fury and humiliation. Get out. Oh, right, I mumbled, backing away. A stray thought popped into my head. Is she commando right now? My eyes involuntarily flickered downward for a split second. She noticed. Her face, already flushed, seemed to deepen in color. Don't look, she snapped, her voice trembling slightly. And don't even think about it. I wasn't thinking anything. You're still thinking about it. After she'd composed herself, Chloe came out of her room. Our suite had 2 bedrooms and a living area, but only one main bathroom. She walked up to me and said quietly, Okay, you can go in now. I flinched, instinctively taking a step back. She stared at me, her expression hardening. Do you hate me that much? No, it's not. Then why do you recoil every time I get near you? I scratched the back of my neck. Maybe I'm just scared of you. Chloe looked at me for a long moment, and then, to my utter shock, she laughed. It was a genuine, beautiful laugh that completely transformed her face, making her look like a different person from the intimidating Ice Queen I knew. I just stood there mesmerized. She rolled her eyes, though the smile lingered. Are you done staring? I could only offer a weak, awkward grin in response. After composing herself, Chloe retreated to her bedroom. It was clear she was exhausted. She didn't even mention the proposal again. Around 10 o'clock that night, I heard her call my name. I walked out into the living area. The bathroom light was on. I stood by the door. What's wrong? Can you get my bath towel from my room? I forgot to grab it. I did as she asked, opening her suitcase. A vibrant collection of clothes met my eyes, along with a few pairs of very sheer, very expensive-looking underwear. After a moment of rummaging, I found the towel tucked at the very bottom. When Chloe emerged, she was wearing a loose silk pajama set that hinted at the languid curves beneath. The main lights were off, so we couldn't quite make out each other's expressions in the dimness. I had to admit, Chloe had an incredible figure. She was slender, but surprisingly curvaceous, especially up top. A delicate frame with impressive assets, like what you see. Her voice, sharp and laced with irritation, cut through the quiet. I wasn't looking. You weren't looking? You've been staring for a solid minute. Do you think I'm an idiot? I sheepishly tore my gaze away, muttering under my breath. A little look never hurt anyone. What did you say? Nothing. Are you hungry? I asked, remembering she hadn't eaten. She hesitated, then nodded. I ordered some food for her through DoorDash. A few minutes later, there was a knock at the door. That was fast. It hadn't even been 5 minutes. I checked my phone. The app still said the driver was on their way. Chloe had already gone to the door and brought the small paper bag inside. She looked at it, puzzled. Ethan, what did you order? This feels really light. She tore open the bag and pulled out a box of Trojan condoms and a bottle of lubricant. For a moment, Chloe didn't seem to process it. She read the text on the box out loud, her voice flat. Ultra thin, bare skin feel. Then, comprehension dawned. She fell silent, slowly turning to look at me. Her eyes were a mixture of confusion and a new, profound level of disdain, as if to say, "What is this?" I was completely frozen. That's not what I ordered. It's not. Her voice dripped with doubt. Of course not. What kind of person do you think I am? A cold smirk played on her lips. Lately, I'm not so sure. My behavior today, from staring to the bathroom incident, wasn't exactly helping my case. My denial sounded weak, even to my own ears. "Chloe, look," I said, pointing my phone. "My order is still on its way. This has to be a mistake. The driver must have delivered the wrong order." Chloe nodded slowly. "I understand." Hearing that, I breathed a sigh of relief. It's just a misunderstanding. I'm glad you get it." A man and a woman, alone in a hotel suite, she continued, her voice dangerously calm. "I can understand you having certain ideas." "Right, exactly. Wait, no. What ideas?" "I don't have any ideas." She gestured vaguely toward her chest. "Then why were you staring at me earlier?" She was backing me into a corner again, that faint, predatory smile returning to her face. It was the same look from the plane, the cat playing with the mouse. A rush of frustration and something else flooded my brain, and the words tumbled out before I could stop them. "So what if I was having ideas? It's not like you'd do anything about it." Chloe was clearly taken aback by my outburst. She paused for a beat, then replied, her voice dropping to a low murmur. "Not right now. I'm on my period." The entire suite plunged into a dead, echoing silence. The silence was finally broken by another knock at the door, the real DoorDash driver. The previous delivery had been a mix-up. An order for room 902 had been brought to us in 901 by mistake. "See," I said, forcing a laugh to cut through the tension. "I told you it was the wrong order." But Chloe didn't respond. She was just staring blankly at the ceiling, lost in thought. Even when I unpacked our food and called her to eat, she didn't move. "Chloe? Hey, boss. What's up? You're not ignoring me, are you?" She turned and shot me a glare filled with a strange, frustrated anger, then huffed and stormed back to her room. "Hey, where are you going? The food's here. Aren't you going to eat?" "Not hungry," she yelled through the door. "Wow, you must not be that hungry then. More for me, I guess." Choke on it. It definitely felt like she was mad at me, but I couldn't prove it. Then again, she was on her period. Mood swings were probably part of the deal. I opened the containers, a creamy pumpkin soup and a light spring roll. I had just taken my first spoonful when click. Chloe's door opened. She walked out, plopped down on the sofa next to me, grabbed the spoon I had just used, and scooped a mouthful of soup in her mouth. Chloe, what?" Nothing. Go ahead." I decided it was better to just let it go. My phone buzzed with a notification from the unofficial work group chat our team had. "Has anyone heard from the boss today? It's weirdly quiet." "No, something must be up. This isn't like her at all." I typed a quick reply. "She's probably just tired. Taking a rest. How would you know? Are you with her or something?" I sent back a series of periods. "Haha, just kidding. How's the vacation?" "It's complicated." I glanced over at Chloe, who was now scrolling through her phone while eating. Her brow furrowed, and then she looked at me. "Go get my laptop from my room." I stared at her. "What?" I checked the time. It was nearly midnight. She couldn't possibly want to work now, could she? I should have known better. When it came to work, Chloe Bennett was relentless. Her motto was to never put off until tomorrow what could be done today. She hadn't had time to properly review the proposal that afternoon, and now that she had, she was going to deal with it. I brought her the laptop, then turned to head back to my room. Chloe looked up, her expression once again reverting to the cold, detached boss I knew. "Where are you going?" "To bed. It's getting late." "You should get some sleep too, Chloe. Come here. Sit with me and go over this. It's your proposal, after all. Since I haven't given you any new assignments, you can sit here and learn something." Ugh, was this a vacation or a punishment? We worked on the proposal until well past 1 in the morning, with Chloe dissecting every detail while I took notes. "Organize these revisions and send them to me tomorrow," she commanded. I stifled a yawn and nodded. Just then, a strange sound echoed from the room next door. The hotel's soundproofing wasn't great. In the dead of night, every little noise was amplified. We could hear it clearly from the living room, a series of low moans, rising and falling in waves. The whole affair was surprisingly brief. After about 3 minutes, the room next door fell silent. "Damn it," I grumbled internally. "Can't even keep it down in the middle of the night. And for what? 3 minutes? Pathetic." I turned back and saw Chloe's face was flushed with a clear hint of embarrassment. Seeing the composed Ice Queen look so flustered was a first. I stood up to leave, but Chloe called out to me again. "Ethan." I looked down at her. "Help! Help me up. My legs are asleep." There were no proper chairs in the living area, and she had been sitting cross-legged on the floor the entire time. Now, when she tried to stand, she couldn't move. I tried to help her up, but she was too wobbly to even stand on her own. Finally, I sighed and turned my back to her. Look, I'll give you a piggyback ride to your room. I'm exhausted, and I just want to get to bed. Chloe hesitated for a moment behind me before finally wrapping her arms around my neck. I stooped down, hooking my arms under her legs to lift her. She was surprisingly light and soft. She let out a tiny gasp as I lifted her, but didn't say anything. Her room was dark. As I stepped through the doorway, my foot caught on something, and I stumbled. My body pitched forward, and we went crashing to the floor. I landed with a heavy thud that knocked the wind out of me. Chloe, cushioned by my fall, let out a sharp cry. Ethan, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Just then, the moaning from the room next door started up again, even louder and more frantic than before. Oh, for God's sake, I thought. Did that idiot think our crash was some kind of challenge? We were supposed to be on vacation, but the next day was spent cooped up in the hotel room, revising the proposal. It wasn't until 3 in the afternoon that I finally finished it and posted it in the work Slack channel. At Chloe, the proposal is complete. If she bothers me with one more work-related thing on this trip, I'm submitting my resignation the second I get back, I vowed silently. Leo Bennett is the most unreliable friend on the planet. My phone started buzzing nonstop. I glanced at the screen and saw the Slack channel was flooded with messages. I opened the app and saw a long stream of question marks from my colleagues. What was going on? I scrolled up and my heart dropped. The message I just sent, the one tagging Chloe, had been posted from her account. It was her laptop. Her Slack was still logged in. I'd posted without thinking to switch accounts. It was too late to delete it now. That would just look even more suspicious. A private message popped up from a coworker. Ethan, are you logged into Chloe's account? Why are you on her Slack? Are you two together? Wait, I thought you were on vacation. OMG, are you on vacation together? You guessed it. No prize for you, though. Chloe came and sat beside me, casually opening the file I just sent. This looks good. Go ahead and send it over to Jessica. Jessica was one of our main clients and had a good working relationship with Chloe. But was this really the time to be talking about proposals? Chloe, I said, my voice strained. I'm really sorry. I forgot to switch accounts. I think everyone on the team might be getting the wrong idea. She nodded, her expression unreadable. A misunderstanding can be cleared up. I hope so, I thought. Do you dislike me? She asked suddenly, still staring at the laptop screen. But I could tell she wasn't actually reading anything. No, of course not. Then why do you always seem so determined to keep your distance from me? She turned her head, her gaze locking onto mine, waiting for an answer. I felt a sudden urge to squirm. I stammered. We're colleagues. You're my boss. It's normal to have professional boundaries. Besides, you're pretty intimidating to everyone. Chloe considered this, then nodded. She didn't press the issue, just said, I see. After a moment of silence, she looked up at me again. If I wasn't like that, would you be willing to get closer to me? I just stared at her, speechless. She held my gaze, not flinching. Finally, I gave a slow, hesitant nod. After dinner, Chloe suggested we go for a walk, and I agreed. We passed by a place with a long line of people crowded around the entrance. Getting closer, we saw it was a haunted house attraction with a sign that read The Crimson Bride. Chloe's eyes lit up with excitement. Let's do that. I looked at the dimly lit, ominous-looking entrance, then back at Chloe's eager face. A haunted house? At night? I don't know if that's a good idea. Night is when it's supposed to be scary, she said dismissively. That's the whole point. Left with no choice, I reluctantly followed her. We bought our tickets, and Chloe eagerly stepped inside first. The moment we were in, the lights cut out, replaced by a flickering, sickly yellow glow like candlelight. A crackling voice echoed from a hidden speaker. Welcome to the Crimson Bride. The entrance is now sealed. You have 30 minutes to escape. Good luck. The voice dissolved into a mix of static, faint crying, and the sound of wind, sending a shiver down my spine. Chloe, however, looked thrilled, not scared at all. Then, whether intentionally or not, she reached out and took my hand, her fingers lacing through mine. I told myself she was just nervous. Hand in hand, we made our way through a long, dark corridor that opened into a room. On either side were altars lined with memorial tablets. Directly in front of us stood a large, red coffin. Suddenly, the coffin lid rattled. A figure in a red wedding dress, its face hidden by a veil, sat bolt upright. Ah! Chloe screamed, throwing herself against me and burying her face in my chest. I could feel her whole body trembling. But her scream didn't sound like one of terror. It was more like a release, a cathartic burst of emotion. I instinctively wrapped my arms around her, holding her tight. We stood like that for so long that one of the scare actors, seeing we weren't moving, finally broke character. Guys? You can keep going now. We quickly pulled apart. On the walk back to the hotel, Chloe was in a much better mood, chattering nonstop. That place was so lame. Not scary at all. And the actors were terrible. There was no interaction. Seriously, that last guy just telling us to move on? I almost died laughing. She spent the whole way back critiquing the haunted house's lack of authenticity. But later that night, just as I was about to go to sleep, she knocked on my bedroom door. "Ethan, can you come sit with me for a bit?" she whispered when I opened it. Every time I close my eyes, I see that ghost in the red dress. I roll my eyes. A classic case of all talk. I told her it was a bad idea. I opened my door wider, and she immediately grabbed my arm, pulling me in her room. The gesture was surprisingly natural, as if she'd done it 100 times before. "Okay, you can go to sleep," I said, finding a comfortable spot on a chair near her bed. "I'll stay right here. Don't worry, there are no ghosts. And if there are, they'll have to get through me first." "You can't leave," she said quietly, looking at me from under her covers. "I know I won't. I'll wait until you fall asleep." "You can't leave even after I fall asleep." Fine, I won't leave," I sighed. At that moment, she was acting just like a little kid. I yawned, propping my head up with my hand. I don't know when I drifted off, but the next thing I knew, I was resting against something incredibly soft and comfortable. When I opened my eyes, I was in her bed, with my arms wrapped around Chloe. She was awake too, her eyes wide open, just staring at me. As our gazes met, a deep blush spread across her cheeks. I panicked, scrambling off the bed as if it were on fire. "Chloe, you have to let me explain." After her initial blush faded, Chloe's cool composure returned. "You've got a lot of nerve, Ethan," she said, her voice dangerously calm. "Taking advantage of your boss." It had been completely subconscious. I wanted to blame her. After all, she was the one who dragged me into her room. She sat up, the duvet falling away to reveal a pair of long, pale legs. Her hair was a mess. She ran a hand through it, a sleepy, unfussed look on her face. "Get dressed," she said. "We're going out today." Chloe was in high spirits. We spent the morning at Stearns Wharf and the afternoon at the Sea Center Aquarium. At one point, she bought a stick of fried calamari and held it up to my mouth. "Have a bite." I shook my head. "No, thanks." "Why not? You ever hear that joke? Why don't scientists trust atoms?" She looked at me, puzzled. "Why?" "Because they make up everything." Ethan stared at Chloe for a second, then burst out laughing. "That's so dumb." She pulled the calamari back. "Okay, now I don't want it either." Standing there in the California sun, she looked radiant, and I found myself just staring at her, completely captivated. "What is it?" she asked, noticing my gaze. "And nothing." Sometime during the day, Chloe's hand had found its way into the crook of my arm, and she'd left it there. I didn't say anything, just quietly enjoyed the feeling of her being so close, a genuine smile on her face. That night, she found me again. "Hey, can you stay with me again tonight?" I'm still a little spooked. A grown woman scared of ghosts, I thought with a roll of my eyes. But I said, "You're not worried I'll take advantage of you again?" Chloe pouted and let out a tiny, indignant huff before pulling me into her room. I sat on the edge of her bed while she huddled under the covers, watching me. "Ethan, do you have a girlfriend?" she asked out of the blue. "No. Is there anyone you like?" Looking at her, my heart skipped a beat. "No," I said, perhaps a little too quickly. "I see." A moment of silence passed, and then we heard it again, the low moans from the room next door. Damn it, they're at it again. It had been like this every single night. Chloe's face turned bright red. "Ethan," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "Are you tired? You could lie down for a while." "I don't think that a good idea." My mouth said one thing, but my body did another. A moment later, I was lying on the bed, face to face with her. An impulse took over, and I heard myself say, "Can I hold you?" Chloe didn't answer. Taking that as a yes, I reached out and pulled her closer. She didn't resist, melting into the embrace with a surprising stillness. After a while, she spoke. "How long are you going to hold me?" "Just a little longer." "How long is a little longer?" 5 minutes. "You've already been holding me for a while," she protested weakly. "Okay, for minutes and 50 seconds. That's not how it works." "Fine," I mumbled. "You tell me." 1 minute, she said firmly. "Deal." She actually started counting down, but when she got to 20, I started counting with her. 29, 20, 21, 22. It took her 2 rounds to realize what I was doing. "You're cheating." I just hummed in response. She fell silent after that, no longer counting. She just shifted slightly, resting her head in the crook of my arm. A few moments later, she tilted her head up and looked at me. "Ethan, kiss me." Her expression was hazy, her eyes filled with a kind of wild vulnerability. I felt my own self-control fraying, piece by piece. I leaned in and met her lips. Soon, the engine of the sports car in room 901 roared to life, its thunder echoing down the highway. I sat confidently in the driver's seat, hands expertly gripping the wheel, navigating every turn with fluid grace. Chloe, in the passenger seat, held on for dear life, a breathless gasp on her lips. As we tore through a series of hairpin turns, she lost all sense of direction, crying out with a release that had been pent up for far too long. Meanwhile, the old clunker from room 902 couldn't even read our license plate as we left it in the dust. The driver tried to speed up to catch us, but after 3 minutes, his engine sputtered and died completely. Damn it, the guest in 902 muttered, staring at the ceiling. Did the guy next door pop a Viagra or something? It's been 3 hours. His voice was a bitter mix of envy and defeat. The next morning, I woke to find Chloe sitting on the edge of the bed, staring into space. A matching set of lace lingerie, the one I'd removed last night, lay discarded by the pillows. When she noticed I was awake, a flicker of embarrassment crossed her face. Ethan, she began, her voice hesitant. I'm sorry. I've been under a lot of pressure lately. She paused, as if trying to find the right words. Last night. Pressure? I thought back on her behavior over the past few days, the haunted house, the playful dates. It had all felt like she was letting go, releasing pin-up emotions. Someone as meticulous and driven as her must carry an incredible amount of stress. Is that all it was? And here I was, thinking it was about me, that she might actually have feelings for me. I managed to smile. It's okay. Everyone has pressure. We all need a way to let it out. We're both adults here. We can just leave it at that. No need to ever bring it up again. A look of pure shock, followed by a shadow of disappointment, crossed Chloe's face. Her voice was barely a whisper when she spoke. Is that really how you feel? Don't worry, I said, trying to sound casual. I'm not the kind of guy who gets attached. After a long, heavy silence, she finally nodded. Okay. The rest of the trip was strange. Chloe kept to her room, and a delicate, unspoken tension hung between us. I tried to act like nothing had happened, but I could feel her actively avoiding me. It was the same when we got back to the office. Usually, she was tagging me in Slack a dozen times a day. In the days after our trip, there was nothing but silence. At my desk, I kept getting the feeling that someone was watching me, but whenever I looked around, I saw no one. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore and cornered her brother, Leo. When I explained what had happened, he did a spit take with his soda. Wait, you're telling me my sister is ignoring you now? Keep your voice down, I hissed. I need you to help me figure this out. What's going on? He looked at me, dead serious. Do you like my sister? I thought about it for a moment, then finally, reluctantly nodded. Yeah, I do. Leo shook his head and sighed dramatically. You two are the dumbest people I have ever met. What's that supposed to mean? I'll let you in on a little secret, genius, he said, leaning in. It was my sister's idea for you to go to Santa Barbara. She told me to buy the couple's package. She told me to rig the raffle so you would win. Do you get it now? Or do I need to draw you a diagram? My jaw dropped. What? She wanted to go on a trip with you, but was too proud to ask directly. So she made me set the whole thing up. Are we clear? He said. And don't even get me started on. Wait, never mind. Look, just go talk to her. No wonder she's the couple's package. She told me to rig the raffle so you would win. Do you get it now? Or do I need to draw you a diagram? My jaw dropped. What? She wanted to go on a trip with you, but was too proud to ask directly. So she made me set the whole thing up. Are we clear? He said. And don't even get me started on. Wait, never mind. Look, just go talk to her. No wonder she's been moping around the office all week. I should have known it was your fault. After thinking it over, I pulled out my phone and sent Chloe a text. Do you have a minute? Can we talk? Hours passed with no reply. I tried calling her, but it went straight to voicemail. My stomach sank. So this is what it felt like to be into someone, a constant state of low-grade panic. By evening, I still hadn't heard from her. I sighed, resigning myself to the fact that I had probably just imagined everything. If she really liked me, would she be too busy to send a single text? Just as I was thinking that, my phone rang. It was Chloe. Ethan, you were looking for me. Her voice sounded rushed. I'm so sorry. I was on a flight all afternoon. My phone was off. I just saw your message. She paused, then continued, her voice softening. Ethan, are you there? Are you mad at me? I swear I didn't mean to ignore you for so long. Ethan. Love, I realized, was one person's private chaos, where anything involving the other person could send you into a tailspin. Chloe Bennett, I like you. I blurted out. The line went silent. Do you like me? I asked, my heart pounding. Yes, she said, without a moment's hesitation this time. Of course I like you. The psychological and the physiological kind. Send me your location, she said. What? Aren't you on a business trip? I canceled everything, she said, her voice filled with a sudden, fierce determination. Right now, I just want to see you. That night, Chloe took a cab straight from the airport. The driver drove for 8 hours straight to get her back. The moment she was out of the car, she came directly to my apartment. She stayed for a day and a night, and she never left. Chloe moved in with me. It was like living with two different people. During the day, at the office, she was Ms. Bennett. At night, at home, she was the woman who called me her husband. At work, she was the same cold, demanding leader. Nothing short of perfection was acceptable, and she wasn't afraid to tear someone apart in a meeting if they fell short. That day, our entire team was in the conference room, getting an earful about a missed deadline. Everyone sat in stony silence, terrified of saying the wrong thing. Chloe's icy demeanor kept everyone on edge all day. But the moment we got home, she was draped around my neck, murmuring honey and demanding kisses. She would start with a tentative peck, then pull me into a deep, possessive kiss that left us both breathless. She'd pull back, her face flushed, her breathing heavy. "Ethan, hold me tighter, even tighter. I want to melt into you." It was an invitation I couldn't resist. "You were pretty ruthless at the office today," I whispered against her skin. She glanced up at me, a playful glint in her eye. "Well, maybe if your team's performance was better, I wouldn't have to be." I squeezed her a little tighter. "Are you teaching me how to do my job now?" She bit her lower lip, stifling a moan, her hands gripping my back even harder. In her office, Chloe pulled me by the hand, leading me around her desk until I was sitting in her chair. And she leaned down and kissed me. "Chloe, we're at work." I mumbled against her lips. "It's fine," she whispered back. "I'm the boss." My head was already spinning. Chloe laughed softly. "What should we have for dinner tonight? Oysters or steak?" She climbed on my lap, straddling me as she pulled her hair up into a messy bun. Dressed in her sharp, black business attire, the contrast was electrifying. Just then, the door swung open without a knock. A young intern stood there, frozen. "Oh," she gasped before quickly shutting the door. A moment later, a timid knock sounded. Chloe sighed, reluctantly pulling away from me. "Come in," she called out. The intern crept in, placing a file on the desk and avoiding eye contact. "Ms. Bennett," she said, her voice barely audible. "These are the contracts that need your signature." "Got it. You can go. I'll let you know when they're ready." "Oh, okay." The intern practically fled the office. By the end of the afternoon, the entire company knew that the boss and I were together. Chloe didn't deny it. In fact, she announced it in the main Slack channel. "And you're all invited to the wedding." Our wedding day was a beautiful, chaotic affair. Leo, my best man, sidled up to me, nudging me with his elbow. "So," he said with a smug grin, "ready for the married life?" I just rolled my eyes at him. He chuckled. "Hey, don't be ungrateful. You have to admit, I'm a pretty great matchmaker." Yeah, whatever you say," I said, but I was smiling. Across the room, I saw Chloe. She waved, her eyes sparkling. She made her way through the crowd and stood before me. A slow, wicked smile spread across her face. "Tonight," she whispered, leaning in close, "is our wedding night.